Welcome to Prop Talks, the prop seminar for the 2021 Utah Shakespeare Festival season. Today we're going to be talking about Richard III, which is in the Ingolstadt Theater. This was another huge sort of build show for us, starting with the bier, or the funeral wagon for the king. So we built this basically from scratch. We did buy wagon wheels from an Amish company, but the rest of the structure, including the pivot for the front wheels, was all built in the shop. A lot of detail went into this. We made these cool Gothic arches for the top, put a lot of trim and molding on this. Um, it holds a body, so we have a body here. We took it over to rehearsal, and I unfortunately ran it into a tree branch and snapped the top off. So I had to come back to the shop and get made bigger and better. Also found out it was too wide, so we had to narrow it to get it on stage. Things that just sort of happen. Here it is, pretty much finished with the detail, the body again of the king. It does a little trick, which I won't talk about unless you see the show, but you'll see the little black marks on its chest. That's where the trick sort of happens. A kind of a cool, fun effect and a very large prop. We also built a table for Richard. So these are the legs of the table. This is a huge table. It's a big curved table, and we didn't want it to be too heavy. And so the legs are actually made out of layers of foam. Here's a closer view of the leg, and you can see the pink foam in the middle, and then there's some white foam on both sides to thicken out parts of it. And then you can see some of the chunks where we've started to add the veneer onto it to mask all of that foam. This was so we could actually stain it and make it look really nice, but it's made out of really cheap, inexpensive materials and also lightweight, so the crew could move it around backstage and easily get it on and off the slip stage for the scenes that it was in. But in the end, we created this amazing table. That's half of it right there. I think it's about, yeah, there's the whole thing sitting on the slip stage, so it actually sits off on both sides. So we had wheels underneath the legs that were longer, so that it would roll out on the slip stage for this scene. Here's Turtle sitting on this top structure, which is also foam with some edging of wood and some wood cross pieces where the legs are going to attach. Again, trying to keep weight down, but create this large structure that, again, was easy for the crew to deal with. Turtle exploring and checking it out, making sure we did a good job. There she goes. There's a lot of weapons in this show as well. We have a bunch of aluminum shields we've used for a couple years. In the previous seasons, we've used the padding upright. We had to angle the padding this year because of different configuration for the fighters. And then each shield had a different design that got stenciled and painted onto it. So the red roses and the boar for the Richmond and Richard teams. We also modified an aluminum battle axe that we've had for years, and also a mace for the show as well. We also built some very large banners for this show. So here are all of our full-size patterns. These are all built out of different layers of satin. So we have different satins here that we cut all the pieces out of, and we put stitch witchery on the back, so we could iron the pieces together and make sure they were all sitting in the correct location, iron them to the large banner, and then machine stitched, there's the boar for Richard, and then we machine stitched all of that detailing, stitching, and also around the outside of all of the pieces of the banners to make them stick down. We also built a new throne this year. Our old throne is about 20 years old, and Marielle built that throne as well. So this was kind of her project. So here are the 4x4 legs for the post, front legs, and then here are the back legs attached to the back panel. Again, trying to keep this light. That's mostly hollow in there. And then here we start adding the detail, the front panels. All of this was actually hand cut out. We didn't CNC any of this. So we cut all these pieces. These are the finials that we made out of giant blocks of 6x6 wood. So we had to make 4 cuts on the bandsaw twice to get 2 of these. And here we are routing all of the decorative trim. There was even some pieces where Apollo wanted a piece to go through the route to go through the middle. So we had to build a special sort of shop-built jig to make that happen. And here's all of that routed trim being added to the throne. It's a lot of detail. This thing we try to keep it light because, again, the crew has to move it a lot and we want to use it for many, many years. But there was a lot of pieces. There's Marielle working on some of the trim. Turtle checking it out as she does almost all of our props. Here you can see how we're getting to all the final details, tapping all the nail heads in. There it is, just about finished except for stain, looks like. Another shot showing all the layers and layers of detail. and there it is stained. It's a really nice piece, and it'll be in a lot of shows over the next probably 2 decades. So definitely come check that out and all the other fun props in Richard III at the festival this season.